It is June of 2025 and the CRO token is still trading at about 9 cents. All the while, Bitcoin is already near the all-time highs. So, should the CRO price not be a lot higher at this point? And well, that's a great question, but then we need to find out where we really are in this cycle. So guys, that's exactly what we're gonna explore in this video. So don't forget to strap in and let's find out. You might recognize this Bitcoin chart here if you've seen more videos on the channel, because this Bitcoin chart is specifically insightful as it contains all the most important events for the history of Bitcoin. I'm talking about all the halving events starting all the way here in 2012, but also 2016, 2020, and more recently 2024, but also all the all-time highs for Bitcoin and also some speculation for the future. But more about that later. Some analysts make the case that the cycle theory for Bitcoin is now dead, mainly because of more mainstream adoption and also new ETFs coming out for Bitcoin basically every day now. However, if you take a look at the overall picture, this still looks like a big cycle to me. And of course, there are some major differences. For example, an all-time high before the halving, and we've never seen that before in the previous cycles. But remember guys, history rhymes and not exactly repeats. But we can still use the data we've had from the previous cycle to make some predictions. And we also did that. So that's also how we're going to go to where we are really in the CRO cycle so far. And honestly, I'm quite surprised with the outcome myself. But let's take a quick look here at the previous cycle. What we see after the halving, the third halving in 2020. So this is the previous cycle. It took about 130 days to start with this run. You can say this has been the start really of the big bull run for Bitcoin. Started about 130 days after the halving. And then we had the CRO bull run starting in about June of 2021. That was a bit later, of course, than we were talking at about 403 days after the halving event. The start date for the first CRO bull run is based on a different chart, of course, including Cronos, because on this chart, the rainbow chart, you can see that after setting this low, we started moving up quite rapidly for the next 6 months. Anyways, with all this information from the previous cycle, I went back to the drawing board and overlaid it to the current cycle. So let's take a quick look. We start again with the halving event for Bitcoin that occurred in April of 2024. And to get to the start date for the Bitcoin bull run, again, we've taken a look at the previous cycle. So 130 days. We again also used 130 days to get to the start date really of the Bitcoin bull run. And honestly, I would say it is pretty much spot on, because you can see, I would say that this here truly is the start of the Bitcoin bull run, because from that point onward, at about $50,000, we only went up. Some though would make the argument that this here, this low, this has been the true start of the bull run, and this green line is pretty much here in the middle of it. So yeah, it is quite accurate, I would say. So the cycle theory, at least for the start, still makes a lot of sense. So after the start, we go to the next line, which is the start of CRO bull run 2. That should have occurred already a while back here. So it's saying about May of 2025. And of course, what did CRO do starting May of 2025? Well, let's take a look at a different CRO chart here. And we'll say May of 2025. Where is it? Well, May 2025, that's about here. The touch, really, the low touch on the rainbow chart. And from that point onward, yeah, we went up. The last few days, we also went down a bit more. But still, if it continues to go up, there is potentially a case to be made that, yeah, this has been actually the start of the CRO bull run. And then, in that case, we have to go back really to this previous chart. It will take a few more days. According to the previous cycle, we might expect CRO bull run or all-time high 2 to end here in September of 2025. Based on the information I've just shown you, we now should be in a bull run for CRO, but it definitely doesn't feel that way yet. But of course, the question is, did it feel like a bull run back then in 2021? Well, let's take a quick look. First, we need to know how many days it has been since the halving event, and currently it has been 435 days. So now we're going to the CRO chart, and we're going back to the halving event, and the halving event occurred on May 12th of 2020. So I need to be very careful here. It occurred about here. We need to go to the daily chart so we can really truly overlay where we are. So this was the halving event for Bitcoin, May 12th. And then 435 days after this Bitcoin halving event. 435 days after the halving. Where were we? We just completed a bit of a dip. So remember this dip here? This is where we were. And honestly, this is super interesting because the price back then, that was also at about 10 cents. We went first to about 9 cents or 8 cents even. Then we went up to about 13 cents and then back to about 10 cents again. It is actually quite similar to what we have experienced since the beginning of May. So if you say this is the beginning, we went up to about, well, here only 10 cents. Then we went back down again to test the 10-cent range. It's pretty much similar as what we experienced back in 2020. So did it feel like a bull run here? It didn't. It definitely didn't. The feel only started to appear once we really made that move to the upside to about 20 cents. And people started to believe. But also back then, we went down back to 15 cents. So it's a hard time. It's a really hard time. The only true feel of a true bull run, I think that really occurred here, very late in the cycle. And we're talking about October, September. So guys, taking a look at just history, it is still definitely possible that what we have seen earlier on the Bitcoin chart, on this Bitcoin chart here, not this Bitcoin chart, is that this CRO bull run, it might be quite accurate. It might be quite accurate, and that still this CRO all-time high near October might be the case. For fun and giggles, let's do the same exercise now for CRO Bitcoin as well, because CRO Bitcoin feels very much undervalued at this point. So first, I added already the halving event here in May of 2020, and I'm going to add those 435 days. And that brings us to about this point here. I will quickly mark it, and you can see that we are basically in this dip here. That was where we currently are in the cycle for CRO Bitcoin back in 2020, or actually 2021 this was. So you can see that, yes, also like with the US dollar pair, a bit of a dip after a bit of a rise. And then only months later, we had the true rise also in its CRO Bitcoin pair. So similarities that we might see here again. We do have lower lows for CRO Bitcoin and also expect lower highs for CRO Bitcoin. But I would say that if we continue a similar rise, then also this might be soon the rise of CRO Bitcoin to something like this. But of course, only a lot of speculation, very dubious speculation as well, but just based on what we've seen in the previous cycle for CRO. At this point, I've been into the CRO token for years, and I had this gut feeling that back then in 2021, at about the same time in the bull cycle, we got a lot of the same sentiment. People losing faith, people are ready to sell their bags, and only months later, we had this crazy rise up. So I'm not telling you guys that the same thing is going to happen again, but just according to the data, things are playing out pretty much similar as what we've seen back in 2021. So let's hope that this time around, history will repeat a bit more than just rhyme. But overall, I got some good hope still. Fundamentals are still good. I think Bitcoin is still also at crazy highs. So I think it's only a matter of time before we go into that really, truly parabolic bull run. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Are you losing hope? Are you thinking this will not play out the same as last cycle? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, don't forget to please hit the like button and of course, subscribe for more. And if you like the CRO videos, I got a boatload of them for you. So check out this video as well.